Beautiful afternoon in Salt Lake City, and we're at the University of Utah. Time for a little Pac-12 soccer. The 8th-ranked Stanford Cardinal and the Utah Utes. Rich Cellini, Krista Blanc, welcome as we get set for the start of conference play. If you were to handicap this season, it would be a pick-em. There is no clear-cut favorite.
There definitely isn't. You know, Stanford was picked to win it in the preseason, but I think every coach is in agreement. There's so much parity. This can go so many different directions. It's going to be a fun and interesting Pac-12 season.
When you look at the Cardinal, back-to-back top recruiting classes in the nation, but a steadying influence on this team from a senior.
It definitely is a redshirt senior in Haley Rosen. This is a student-athlete who has battled injuries her entire career, finally healthy this season. She's coming off of a missed PK last weekend at Santa Clara, but she's confident, and she's going to look past that and be ready to lead that front line.
A Utah team that comes in with a quiet confidence. The key word here, finish.
Absolutely, and they lean on a sophomore in Natalie Vukic, coming off her best match against LMU, and she's a player that's really made the biggest jump from last year to this year. She's much more aggressive, leads the team with 2 goals and 3 assists. You're going to be looking for her to be part of the action.
Second consecutive year that Utah and Stanford start conference play. They battled to a draw last season. We're excited to get the conference season underway. It's Utah and Stanford coming up next on the Pac-12 Network.
This Pac-12 soccer production is brought to you in HD by Xfinity, Time Warner Cable, Cox, and Bright House.
Back on a warm day in Salt Lake City, temperatures pushing up toward 90 right now. Teams on the field getting ready, warming up as we get ready for the start of conference play. Stanford sitting at number 8, 6-2. Number 5 in the RPI, the Cardinal, a very talented team. Once again, we talk about those back-to-back number 1 recruiting classes. The 6 freshmen who have come in making a big impact.
They are. They've immediately stepped in. They are very aggressive. They're also very confident, and it comes down to confidence, especially in Pac-12 play.
Andy Sullivan right there in the middle. Herman Trophy candidate. Jane Campbell on that list as well. As with any sport, you get strong up the middle. Things end up in your favor. And Paul Radcliffe, 13 seasons as the Cardinal head coach. 220 victories, the most of any coach in the history of Stanford athletics. And another great year a season ago getting to the College Cup.
Yeah, very impressive. A calming demeanor for his team.
And the Utes line up. A great start to their season a year ago before some injuries kind of knocked them off their way. But this is a team that has enough pieces returning, and they like where they are right now.
I think considering they've had injuries and illness, they are finally getting players back into the positions where they are their strongest. So perfect timing going into conference play. Lindsay
Luke back again. She is an all Pac-12 performer. Goals should be at a premium here today. Rich Manning, 149 career victories, 14 seasons as the Utah coach, has guided them nicely through the transition from the Mountain West, where they were very successful, into the Pac-12.
He needs just 1 win for his 150th, and this would be a big one to kick off the Pac-12 season against Stanford.
Series history tilted in favor of the Cardinal. They have won 5 straight times. The draw last year is the last one on the 5-1-1. And for Utah, this is a team that is getting a lot of opportunities and chances, just not finishing as many as they'd like to, but so many opportunities, enclosed shots on goal. They're thinking that at some point that can turn.
Absolutely. I think both of these teams are in that situation, and both coaches said it's just a matter of finishing. They're working and putting themselves in those situations to try to make sure they concentrate.
And these two, Luke and Campbell, 2 of the best in the country.
They absolutely are. They definitely are the ones orchestrating things from the back line and organizing these teams. And I've seen both of them step up in situations, whether they were in an overtime or whether it was down to the finish of a match. And they are vocal, much more vocal than they have been in the past.
And Campbell, 803-minute shutout streak a season ago. 18th best such streak in the history of collegiate women's soccer. So here we go, Pac-12 conference play underway. The Cardinal and the Utes here on a warm day in Salt Lake City. And non-conference is always fun. It's good to see the new players emerge, but nothing like the start of conference play.
Yeah, definitely. And it takes those non-conference matches, and you try to schedule a very tough non-conference season to get yourself ready for what's ahead here in Pac-12 play, but there's not a lot of time. It's quick starting for school, and then they are right out into conference play.
And Stanford on the quarter system, so this is a big week.
Yeah.
Everybody back in school now. Going out of bounds off the foot of Slattery.
The Cardinal just starting classes this past week. They also haven't had a lot of travel in their non-conference play. They've been home. So this will be an interesting test to see conditioning. There's a bit of heat here, the elevation. How are you going to kick off your conference season here at Utah?
A few more factors coming into play. It's a very talented Stanford team, and you just wonder, like, if you're ever going to get them. And another advantage for Utah coming into this one, if they can turn it their favor, is this is just a one-game weekend.
Exactly. When you're going to have to face the Bay Area teams, both Cal and Stanford ranked in the top 25, what better way to do it than to split it up in the season and only have one of them to deal with?
Amack from the corner, trying to get middle, and nobody quite home.
Good idea, though, by the Cardinal, finding the cross. Opportunities were there, but the defense recovered for the Utes.
Trying to shoot one ahead. Little bit too far. Campbell clears it out.
What we'll see from both of these teams, they are possession-style teams. They want touches. They want to hold on to possession. Stanford probably spreads the field just a little bit more than the Utes will, so it's a matter of who can keep themselves organized, who can keep the spacing and find their opportunities.
Bauer goes back. And Campbell. They're going to shoot it up ahead. Amack. And a nice pass. DiBiase going out in front with the speed of Lee.
But the leg of the freshman Zhao, and a beautiful look and movement away from the ball, and the header though, but the defense there for the Utes. But a nice idea by the Cardinal.
Zhao has been phenomenal.
She definitely has. Such confidence out of Omaha, Nebraska. She's the whole package, Paul Ratcliffe says.
And you start looking through Stanford's non-conference season, and you see that the freshmen not only are playing minutes, but having significant impacts, and it's a different one in a different game.
Yeah, Michelle Zhao is actually leading the Cardinal with 3 goals on the season, leading them in that category. They've come in very confidently, and why not? They're the top recruits in the nation.
Rogers and this good ball movement by Utah, and a team, as you mentioned, both of them liking to go side to side, keeping possession and trying to find an opportunity to advance.
Working it through the back. Both teams will bring their backs up. They'll definitely work the flanks and include them in part of the attack. Sometimes even their center backs will come up and be involved.
Another opportunity here for Stanford. Rosen. A little bit of space. Lee. Swatted away quickly by Nielsen.
Utes winning that 50-50 ball. I thought Amack rather was going to get up there to get it, and she held back.
Lytle.
Michelle Zhao up in front of everybody, gets called, and the flag goes up. But pressing, picking up the tempo, both teams want a fast pace to the game, and it's a matter of which team will be able to control that.
Zhao, part of that freshman class. You see the top 3 recruiting classes coming in. Stanford #1, Penn State, and then Virginia.
Zhao, the Nebraska Player of the Year, coming in this past season. And a lefty, and a very strong leg.
No, it's right. Yeah, it's right. Yeah, you're good. Man. Good, Casey.
These are two teams that graduated some very important and big senior classes. 8 seniors graduated for Utah and 7 for Stanford last year. So they had some new holes to fill and some new roles to be taken on by some of these student athletes that they didn't have to do last year.
Similar comments from both coaches that trying to figure out who fits where.
Yes.
And we know we have good players, we know people can contribute, but the combinations and who goes where is really what needs to be sorted out during non-conference.
You're definitely right. There are some players on both sides that are sitting out. They are not starters, but could be, and it's just a matter of finding the right combinations. But you also need those energy players and spark players coming in off the bench.
Nielsen up ahead. Slattery. DiBiase so quick, able to take that one away. Lee lost it. Big side. Solid so far in the middle of the field defensively.
Yeah. Really hasn't been decided yet. Who's going to control this? The attacking third is up for grabs. Stanford coming off of a loss at Santa Clara, 1-0. Utah a draw against LMU, 2-2.
Where, when you look at the numbers of that Utah-LMU match, you just can't figure out how Utah comes out with a 2-2.
I think you have to take your hat off to the keeper for LMU because she had 12 saves and really was spectacular and just shut down the Utes. They did everything else right.
Ja will now give way. Andy Sullivan. And an opportunity here for Stanford. It's never a good thing when your opponent's goalie ends up as the national goalie of the week.
True.
And that was the case. And that will end up out of bounds.
A bit of a low service on that one, and the Cardinal just couldn't do anything with it.
The breeze now picking up, and that'll cool things down a bit.
They are full sun on the pitch, but the breeze a plus, depending on the direction and for which team.
Drabert sends it ahead. Struggle right there, Zhao. Curl able to pull that one away. Rogers slides it over. Stanford at least has had a couple of opportunities in the attacking third. Utah hasn't made any noise yet.
You're right. They haven't quite gotten there in position to do anything with it.
Good physical play by Sullivan.
Stanford in the mix for Paul Ratcliffe's team on the back line. Some veteran players back there, but also some youth. And then you have Jane Campbell in the box, and she has become a vocal leader. It's just not really her personality. She's kind of a quiet individual, but this year as a junior, she knew she had to step up more.
Idle's pass, knocked back to the middle, ends up on her foot again. Lytle will back it up, and the Cardinal will reset a little bit. And shift the field, foot of Amac. And the pressure D right there from Curl. Advantage Utah.
Amac just couldn't settle that one, and some credit to Janie Curl, as she was right there pressuring Amac.
Not surprising to see a extended feeling out period in the conference opener.
Patience very important in the possession game. Both teams playing that style. You do have to feel it out, kind of see if there's any tendencies that the other team's going to present. Utah's playing fairly high up. They're really pressuring. There you see Poe pressuring Amac. And it worked. Poe Vanderveen, a talented freshman who's not been 100% this season. They're just starting to get her back. She was sick and out just before BYU and missed a couple of matches, so they're getting her back.
The scout on her is Bigfoot. Boy, can she rocket it. Now, this could be an opportunity. He'd send it over. Allen headed back out toward the middle.
Michelle Zhao for the Cardinal, number 5, limping a bit on that throw-in. She had to slide in and took a lot of contact into the foot and ankle area.
You're right, still. The Ginger at midfield. Now the ball will come her direction. Can't get to it. Oh, and there's a foot. Vanderveen. There's Zhao down. Ended up in the face of Sullivan. And Sullivan is now going to have to come to the sideline. Zhao going to go to the sideline. Sullivan heading this way as well. Letting the officials know they didn't. So here's what you're talking about. Coming in. And right there, and goes down, reaching toward that lower part of her left leg around the ankle.
Didn't quite settle the throw in and then had to slide awkwardly, and now Andy Sullivan has to come off because of the collision with Poe Vanderveen.
Sullivan letting the official know that I have to go out because something's wrong with my face. It's from somebody's foot.
Yes, exactly.
So that might need a whistle too. McGrady in for the Cardinal. Lytle. Sullivan quickly back, looking to re-enter this one. And just not enough real estate. Another look at the throw-in.
So Zhao slow to get up, and then right after the collision at midfield between Vanderveen and Sullivan. Sullivan, one of the captains for this team, was the #1 recruit in the nation last year. McGrady is still in, and she's been a talented freshman this season.
Cardinal training staff working on the left ankle of Zhao. Stanford 6-2. Utah 3-3. Look at some of those non-conference opponents for the Cards. Lining them up as big as they can get. And there's Zhao and taking a cut the tape off her ankle. And they'll tend to the talented freshman.
So early on, having to make changes.
And you know that's coming. You never know when
Sure.
or how extensive it'll be. But throughout the course of the season, you know there'll be changes and unexpected twists and turns.
And so many of these student athletes are versatile enough to be able to do that, but it does make just enough of a change that if you get caught off guard with one little mistake, opponents like this that you're going to be facing will take advantage.
Right, and those are the things you see. I mean, those pieces right there where you're just a little bit out of position. There's the one for Campbell. Slattery at least putting a little pressure on Stanford. But just not enough familiarity. And the coaches talk at length about how the free-flowing nature of the sport is one that you have to figure things out among teammates. And it's not about staring at the sideline. It's figuring things out, and you have to make decisions out there.
Yeah. And some coaches will pull the reins a little tighter than others. Paul Radcliffe for Stanford says, I give them a lot of options, and then it's up to them. And so much is out of these coaches' hands once they're out on the pitch. And they can try to tweak and make adjustments, but you just hope that your preparation gets you ready.
I liked his comment that he gives him, that oftentimes, with the ball, you'll have 5 different options. Our thought was, if you get into Stanford, you should be able to handle 5 options, right?
You would think. Of course, then they have all the other things that they're juggling as well.
True. So successful. What a program they built.
Well, and both of these teams are academically strong. Very impressive GPAs as a whole. Well over 3.0s on both sides, and award-winning every single year.
Pushing toward 3.5 last spring for both of them, right near those marks. And you look at the number of people on the team, you just think, whoa! I mean, that's getting it done in the spring. Stanford at 3.47, Arizona State right behind at 3.45, and Utah.
Yeah.
3.41.
That is so incredible and impressive what these student athletes are doing. And for Utah, they have 10 individuals that are at a 3.6 or higher. You find those same numbers on both sides, and when you think about how tough their academics are and the strengths of their schools and programs, it really, really means a lot. Those smarts tend to bleed over on the pitch as well, which is always a good thing.
Sometimes you see that, the just peskiness of Lytle all around people and figuring out a way to come out of the pack with the ball.
She's scrappy, she's quick, and then she can just take off up the flank and turn it into some offense as well. And they want her to be more involved. She's been a little bit quiet out on that wing.
They're better when she's active.
Yes. They need her moving without the ball as much as they need her with the ball.
Lytle, senior from Torrey Pines. Amack trying to clear a little space. DiBiase. Back it up. Bauer. Sullivan in the middle. Nice setup now.
Where the ball is? Where the ball is? Where the ball is?
One more. Grady. And a little miscommunication between her and Amack.
Part of that is because of the pressure from Bailey Nielsen, the senior defender there. Number 12 in red did an excellent job in just not giving an angle, passing angle, pressuring, and getting it back.
Quickly right off.
Where the ball is? Where the ball is?
Utes and Stanford ends up giving it right back.
Big positive for Utah already, as you mentioned the shots. Now, they maybe haven't capitalized on as many of them as they would like, but almost over half as many as they did entirely last year. They had 248. They're already up to 161, and we're just starting Pac-12 play.
That'll be a whistle against Slattery. Yeah, those numbers, you hear a coach, he says it, you think it's just tongue-in-cheek. He's saying, we might have almost as many shots right now out of non-conference as we had all last year. Another look right there. A bump by Slattery. And you go look at the numbers that you mentioned, and you're like, he's not kidding, he's halfway there. They haven't even started conference play yet.
Exactly.
Nice setting here. Fans hanging out around the field.
Love it.
Lawn chair, umbrella if you'd like.
Great way to kick off the weekend here in Salt Lake City. Stand up, buddy. Stand up. Stand up.
Tingle right there. Allen Lee. Utah's ball.
There's Mariah Lee. She's so scrappy, very physical, very fast. Another player that I think has yet to score on the season, could become more involved with the attack.
And you can say that because the things we'd seen last year.
Yes.
Advance right there. You talked about in the open.
We've yet to hardly even mention those Vukic now.
Trying to get her way through a little traffic, can't do it. DiBiase gets it. And a nice spin protection from Rogers.
Katie Rogers, number 3 in red, formerly Rigby. She was married in the offseason, but they are so glad to have her back. She's been out with an injury. She's really the one that's kind of forced everybody else to play other spots.
Able to get it near the middle. Alana Cook, some good D for the Cardinal.
This might be the best positioning we've seen so far for the Utes in the attacking third. Part of it is because of the width, keeping it out far and wide on the left, and good recovery by the back line to get down there and force this corner.
Van der Veen. And look at this strong left-footed leg. I wonder how a ball like that can get through everybody.
That is a scary service right there. When it stays low, that's one where one little deflection and a miss, a couple of decoys or dummies thrown in there, and there is an opening on that right side, but nobody was able to catch up to it for Utah.
You think there had to be close to 10 people who had a chance at it. At least.
Had to be.
Yeah. A woman came all the way from the Netherlands.
Ola Van der Veen, they call her Po. I like her confidence. Part of the Dutch youth national team since 2008. She's had great experience coming in.
Another opportunity for Utah. Kukic now back out. Rogers. Lytle. Spin and advance it. Lee now up ahead. Pass to Grady. Nielsen, Utah. The Pac-12 Network Conference Opener, Salt Lake City at the Ute Soccer Field. Rich Cheney, Crystal Blanc on a nice, warm day. Didn't take long to get loose.
It did not. Both teams out there warming up, and it did not take long. We were warming up just walking to and from the car, so we're in good shape as well.
You were warm when you got here, and your nice black pants helped you.
They do. They are really drawing the sun in.
Good for you.
It is gorgeous here, though. It's a great way to kick off the Pac-12 soccer season.
Beautiful setting.
Yeah.
And if you haven't been to the University of Utah in a couple of years, the amount of improvements in construction they've done around the entire campus is impressive.
Incredible growth. Nice addition to the Pac-12. Utah and Colorado joining in 2011. They've been excellent additions to the conference.
Lytle. Advancing. Slips one over to Lee. Lee can't create. Center. Denied.
Really up two.
Beautiful takeaway and the sliding tackle, and that's a great marking job. Somehow, the Cardinal end up with it.
The middle header, no. Two Cardinal players there. Neither could get a head on it. It's Brady or DiBiase.
But a nice idea. And there's DiBiase just moving, getting under the defense. And the timing was there. Just kept going a little higher and higher. She just could not quite get there. But a nice effort by Jordan DiBiase, the freshman out of Highland Ranch, Colorado. She's one of those freshmen you were talking about, has immediately stepped in, taken over a starting role.
Mac.
Stanford spreads the field so well. You can just see such a difference from left to right, the spacing. It's a lot of ground to cover if you're the defense of Utah.
Nobody in the middle. Utah ball, Nielsen.
Here we go, Utah! Keep fighting!
Bailey Nielsen, one of the 6 seniors. She and Allie Allen were forwards their entire careers and accepted defensive positions this year. And Nielsen just goes down hard on that one. But that's not an easy flip-flop to say, I've been up front my entire career, now I'm going to stand back here and shut teams down on the back line, but see what happens. It's gotten pretty physical here in the first half. It just goes down hard. But I believe it was the offside call against the Cardinal.
It was. But to the credit of players like Nielsen, even though your role changes, you're still part of the bigger one, which is the team. And, you know, year to year, it'll change depending on who you have, who the recruits are.
That's you, Bag.
Nielsen, little connection to Stanford. I had a cousin, Natalie Sanderson, who played soccer for the Cardinal.
Rosen up ahead, and here's a shot. And everything going their way, and again, a bit antsy.
It's 3 or so offside calls against the Stanford Cardinal, and as much as you're glad that they're pushing and they're being physical, I'm sure you're giving up an opportunity as well, maybe not reading the back line of the Utes. And Paul Barcliff's not in agreement, at least of this one, as the whistles have gone against him the last couple of times.
Buckley. And here's a chance for Utah. Slattery back to Buckley. Nielsen pops it up. At least it's in the middle. Back to Buckley. And hitter clears out. But the Utes will keep it.
Both teams have wanted to improve on their set pieces, setting up more corner situations. A lot of the goals given up by Utah this year have come off of set pieces, so they've been working on more of the defensive side of these.
Vanderveen. High header down, Paul still around, and it finds the back of the net, and Utah is on the board first. Katie Rogers who got it.
Jane Campbell immediately bringing her team together to talk things over, because it was absolutely a breakdown in the back, and the Utes capitalized. And there you go again, another corner piece situation that gives up a goal. These teams have both been seeing it all year long.
Look at that, got it twice. Rogers gets it once here, and then it comes right back to her. Look at that.
A very difficult ball. She couldn't quite settle it the first time, but you don't get very many chances. She tries to go for it while it's still up high in the air, at just enough of an angle as it came down off of a defender. She could then level it off, send it to the back corner. Just getting Katie Rogers back, and they are happy she's out there.
Yeah, good little bit of energy right there for a Utah team that really hadn't been in that part of the field very much at all. But they end up with the corner kick. And Rogers sticks with it and gets the fortunate bounce, and Utah has the early lead.
Not surprised to see Stanford come back and push pretty quickly. They've gone to their bench. Both sides have gone to their bench and brought in a couple of new individuals. Ryan Walker Hartshorn, number 8 in stripes for the Cardinal. Mariah Elmer's come in for Utah. She's a very busy, active player. Her sister Michaela also.
There's Elmer.
So only Michaela, Mariah has not checked back in. She got up, came back down. They switched it up.
And here's another opportunity. Oh, trying to slip it through. And Vukic and Elmer just not seeing eye to eye. And out of bounds.
Well, a confidence boost for the Utes to already get on the scoreboard here in the first half.
That's big for them.
It
you come
is.
in 3-3-3. A lot of games where you felt you played well. Coach saying really there's only one that I've looked at and thought we didn't play very well. We didn't play hard enough, didn't get after it enough. The others, you thought, we played well enough that if we could finish some things, we could win.
So close in so many matches. Losing that one, Mariah Lee not able to hang on.
Campbell back to the middle. And then the team who gets that goal, you just sense that energy coming from our right, which is where Utah's bench is.
Yes.
Stanford trying to answer. Good battle right there. And Curl sends it away. Not letting Walker Hartshorn set one up.
Good recovery by Janie Curl, but you can see a difference right now for the Stanford Cardinal, the spacing. They get a lot of 1v1s. Nice save there. Skolmoski comes over and knocks it out of the way of the goal.
Skolmoski's somebody who will be a little bit of a thorn in your side. Walker Hartshorn, no, backs it out. Trying to go middle here again. And enough red jerseys there for Utah to break it up. And Vukic taken down by Sullivan. And Sullivan got kicked in the face earlier, went in, put a little gauze in her nose that was bleeding, was right back in the game.
And continuing to be physical at midfield.
Lee. Lytle can't get it to the center.
But able to make contact, able to set up the corner. See what the Cardinal can do off of these. Again, the Utes have struggled some. They've given up 7 or 8 of their goals on the year out of set pieces and these corners.
Walker Hartshorn's pretty good in that middle if she slides down with that 5'11" frame. We've seen her and her height cause people trouble.
She's an excellent target.
Kick in, up high, and a good catch by Luke.
Looked like Maddie Bauer was right there, and Lindsay Luke reaching the fluorescent yellow gloves up above everybody.
A lot of fluorescent if you look at people's boots and their gloves around here.
It's back in. It's back in, Rich.
Cook goes middle.
She goes hot pink high tops too.
Yeah, and that's okay. That's okay.
Yeah.
Utes will be on the Pac-12 Network a week from today, next Friday. Another good matchup against Oregon State. It'll get going at 4 on Pac-12 Mountain and Pac-12 Oregon, or you can watch on Pac-12 Now and pac-12.com. We've got you covered. Utes and Beavers. Corvallis next week. More Pac-12 women's soccer.
Utah kicking off this home opener, but they will hit the road. They have Oregon State. They will have Oregon after that.
2-game swing.
Yeah. Can't count out any of these teams.
No, and you know what? Coaches had a lot of similar things to say, and the more of them you talk to, the more similarities you start hearing people say. A more balanced conference this year, and a line that keeps coming up is you're going to see some surprising results, things that people are going to raise their eyebrows about that, you know, us who are in it and coaching and have watched all these kids aren't going to be that surprised about, but there will be some results throughout the season that will surprise people on a more regular basis than usual.
There definitely will be. You know, Oregon's sitting at the bottom right now, but just below 500. They're on a 2-match win streak. Oregon State's right in the middle of the pack. You just can't count anybody out. And how about Washington State up top? They have had an exceptional start to this season, just 1 loss.
Vanderveen. Sullivan on the Cardinal, got it back out momentarily. Curl. Ran out of room, good physical stop by Alana Cook.
Like the speed, though, and the effort by Curl, and now Stanford going to keep some fresh legs coming in.
Awesome. John Seuss and Avery Collins. So a redshirt freshman, and Collins from Bozeman, Montana in that top-ranked recruiting class. Grady. Got a little room. Flips it out. Collins. Centers. Nobody there.
Eden Jacobson able to get the Utes out of that one. Tough 1v1, and she wins it.
Vanderveen, and now Utah. Elmer. And trying to get it up ahead to her sister, and that's one of the best stories you'll see anywhere in collegiate sports.
Oh, it absolutely is. As the Utes now go into the sideline, there's Michaela Elmer, and her sister Mariah is number 30, and they are adopted, a family of 8 kids, 4 biological for Mickey and Dave, and 4 adopted. And Michaela came to the U.S. at age 5 from China, and there's Mariah, so athletic and just an amazing family, and so close. They are very close and love playing soccer together, and Michaela actually transferred from the University of Portland so she could continue her college career with Mariah.
Yeah, neat story on all levels. Walker Hartshorn trying to track it down. And here's an opportunity for the Cardinal, and they can't get it in. A great stop in the goal by Luke. Whoa, point blank, denied.
Lindsay Luke read this the entire way and cuts this angle. It's a beautiful feed in. And there you see Avery Collins. She's trying to get position enough and get the angle. The help D coming over as well by Hannah Hyde for the Utes. She and Lindsay Luke not giving any openings in the goal.
Another chance for Stanford. Another catch by the fluorescent yellow gloves of Lindsay Luke.
Luke, a redshirt senior, transferred from Wake Forest. You should take a look at the numbers and most saves all time. Impressive numbers for Lindsay Luke. Started 20 matches last season.
Sullivan gives it up. Grady. Walker Hartshorn and a whistle. That's kind of been a theme for Stanford in this half.
It has.
Offside.
And again, you love the effort, but the peripheral vision, the awareness of where that back line is and where you are in relation to them. They're going to have to kick it up a notch. Paul Radcliffe looking on, and he is a calming presence for this team. He said it's all about a mentality going into every single match. You've got to have intensity. You have to have a maximum performance, and it's crucial. And he said you should get the results that you're wanting if you can do those things.
Brady, Walker Hartshorn. Less than a minute for Stanford. Try to get this one even at the intermission. Sullivan's kick blocked. And a little bit too physical from the freshman Collins. Rogers, who got the goal for Utah, slow to get up.
Shaking the left hand, physical play between she and Collins.
Been that way all afternoon.
It has.
From just the beginning of this one, we've seen a number of physical pieces, and Collins a little bit too high with that arm.
Yeah. You have to be against a team that's ranked number 8 in the nation. If you're Utah coming in, you have to set a precedent for the physical play. They've let them play for the most part, but there have been some whistles. They have definitely kept it under control.
Lytle lets it slip away, and Cardinal will get it back. Get it back into play here. Collins. Sullivan.
Always a body marking Andy Sullivan. You have to know where she is.
You have to.
Yeah.
Too dangerous otherwise.
This is where you cannot let down if you're Utah. You're close to halftime. You can't lose your concentration and focus on a set piece here. Communication so key right now.
Sullivan sends it in. And the header ends up into the crowd off the head of Maddie Bauer.
Maddie Bauer has been the target the last couple of times in the box off of the corners, but Maddie could not get the angle, just got underneath this one on the header.
1-0 Utah. Katie Rogers right there playing it. As you said, not an easy kick to keep down.
It wasn't. She had to have a couple of chances at it, but she got underneath the defense. They couldn't recover, and she had the look.
Well, you oftentimes in this game end up with those looks, but boy, your window to get a clean kick is so short, especially with so many people in that tight of position.
Absolutely, and in a match like this, you don't get many chances. You might have a tendency to rush. That's where it really takes composure and concentration.
And you do see a lot of that. Opportunities and players just not knowing how much time they do or don't have.
Yes. You have to work on it. It's all about reps. When we talked to Paul Radcliffe, the coach for the Stanford Cardinal this week, he said all we did, repetition, because we've had so many shots and we just have not been able to finish. And the only way to do that is be in those situations and learn how to finish them.
That'll be another whistle against Stanford. Maddie Bauer not agreeing with it.
She's saying, hey, 50-50 ball, we're both going for it, but it was an excellent job by Mariah Elmer to use her body and really seal off Maddie Bauer. It was right there.
Kraybert. Center. And it'll end up wide. Campbell right there anyhow.
Once Utah has settled down, they have now been able to be in their attacking third.
Took them a little while.
Fairly evenly. It took a little bit to settle, but they've handled the pressure well.
Down to a minute to go, first half. DiBiase. And nobody home. Allen sends it into the crowd. Stanford knowing they've have 30 seconds left now in this half. Trying to get something done. And nice takeaway. Sklamoski. Elmer. She's got her sister to her right. And she slips it through to her. And they go center. And they're just going to run out of room and out of time. And Campbell takes it and throws it away, but another great opportunity. And Jacobson just couldn't quite track it down to get off a shot on goal, and Jane Campbell showing a little bit of frustration picking that one up and flinging it into the net. Now look at the good combination work here by the Elmer sisters. And a nice pass, and you think right here, there's an opportunity, and let's check in with Krista Blunk.
Well, Coach, your team down 1-0 here going in at halftime. Did you see what happened with the goal? What were some of the breakdowns that occurred?
Well, obviously it was a set play. It was a corner kick, and we just weren't strong enough. The first header, we gave them too much room to get that header. And then the second ball, we weren't tight enough. So I give them credit. They had a lot of desire and tucked it in the net.
You've had some opportunities and looks. You've had a few offside calls as well. What will you talk to the team about here at break?
Yeah, I think we just need to, get in our flow, get the possession going, and, create more chances and go 1v1 in the final third or get it wide. But there's a lot of options out there. We just need to be more aggressive.
Great, Paul. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
All right, Rich.
Coming up at half, Guy Haberman in the studio with the Pac-12 halftime report. Men's soccer, Huskies down by crosstown rival, and a sports report update. That's coming your way right now on the Pac-12 network. We're at halftime here in Salt Lake City. The Utah Utes on a Ute proud day against the number 8 Stanford Cardinal. It's Utah at the half with a 1-0 lead off the foot of Katie Rogers.
In our San Francisco studios, I'm Guy Haberman with this halftime report. At the half, Utah leading Stanford 1-0. Impressive performance. So the number 8 team in the nation will have to dig itself out of a hole in the second half. Something that yesterday on the men's side, 10th ranked Washington had to do, take it on Seattle. Washington undefeated coming in, but they found themselves down in the 28th minute when David Olson would score, and it's 1-0. Now, as the game advances, a 1-0 score, Ian Lang would strike for UW, his first goal of the season. That tied it at 1. 47th minute, same score. Now Seattle threatening off the corner. Hamza Haddadi, after a scramble, would put it in, his 7th goal, and Seattle leads. 65th minute, scary moment for Seattle, and Alex Roldan would collide with Justin Fides. Roldan stays down and get carted off. Fides would receive his second yellow card and ejected, UW's first loss of the season. Still to come here on the Pac-12 network, the conference openers for Oregon and UCLA at 8 o'clock. The Bruins defending Pac-12 champs, but had a lot of turnover. 9 graduated seniors went 4-4 in the non-conference. The Ducks are 3-5, but they finished the non-conference strong with 2 straight shutout wins. Here's the complete schedule as you look ahead here on the Pac-12 network. How about this at 4 o'clock on the women's side? It's a top 25 matchup with Washington and Arizona. UW went 7-1-1 in the non-conference. They in fact started with a loss to Kentucky, haven't lost since. Now these two played a thriller last year. Huskies scored 2 in the final minutes to win that one. Arizona's been strong this year as well, though, as you see, ranked 25th. They're 6-1-1. At 4:30 on the men's side, VCU at UCLA. VCU comes into LA after battling 4th-ranked Virginia on Monday. VCU eventually lost, however, to number 4 Virginia. That one was 1-0. And then you see at 8 o'clock the Oregon-UCLA match that we referenced. What's cool about this one is you see the UCLA and UCLA, that is the second match of a double feature coming to you from Drake Stadium tonight. And of course, for the complete schedule, not just of today, but of the complete weekend of action, you can always just go to the website. Go to pac-12.com. The full schedule will be there. We've got a good one going on right now in Salt Lake. Utah leading Stanford 1-0. Coming up next, it's a sports report update.
This Pac-12 women's soccer match is brought to you by Pure Silk. Pure Silk moisturizing cream for legs that look and feel like pure silk.
Halftime here in Salt Lake City. Utah leading number 8 Stanford 1-0 at the intermission. Here's Krista Blanc with Utah head coach Rich Manning.
Okay, well, Coach, your team up 1-0 here at the halftime. Talk about the sequence and the score. I know you said you've had a lot of shots but haven't been able to finish. What happened when you were able to score?
Well, I think my assistant leaned over Scott and said that's our 51st corner and our first goal in the corner of the season. So maybe law of averages.
Maybe that just opened the floodgates.
Yeah, let's hope.
Katie Rogers got the score. She's been out and injured. How important has it been to get her back?
Well, you can see what she does for us just offensively and defensively. And we need a big half from her coming up.
Thanks very much. Appreciate the time. Rich.
We mentioned a quiet confidence about this group coming into this one. They showed it in the first half. The Cardinal had some chances coming in, but Utah defense, it wasn't just all Cardinal not being able to execute. Utes played some good D.
Absolutely did. For Utah, they had everybody back. They caused a lot of problems. Lindsay Luke was spectacular, especially right here, and she got some help from Hannah Hyde, cutting off the shot attempt by Avery Collins, the freshman. It looked like it was going to be a score, and instead defense shuts them down. And then at the other end, once the Utes settled down, they finally got a corner to go in their favor. Beautiful settle by Katie Rogers. It took her a couple of attempts, Rich, but she was able to get it finally.
1 for 51 is what the coach tells us on corners.
I'm not sure. Math was not my major, but I don't know that they like those numbers. They'll take the one from today.
Just one shot on goal for Stanford. Utah with the 3. And foul 6 by Stanford. That was a big part of it.
Yes.
Any of those 5 offsides.
5 offsides, opportunities that you're giving up, so they need to be a little bit more aware of where the back line is, making sure that you want to get that quick pace and you want to get in behind the D, but you got to have some others back there as well.
Well, the Cardinal knew this was going to be a challenge. They haven't been on the road much in non-conference. Classes started this week. You come to a warm day in Salt Lake City on a Ute Proud celebration day. Here at the University of Utah, and they're down by 1 as we start the second half.
Well, Paul Radcliffe told us, he said, I have so much respect for Utah and this program and what Rich Manning has been able to do. They were picked 10th in the preseason, but again, you can't go by any of those numbers, but a good sign for the Cardinal. And Michelle Zhao going back in, that was a big piece too. A couple of players coming out with a couple of injuries and they had to shift around.
And Zhao got that ankle banged up and they cut the tape off and worked on it in the first half. We saw her warming up to start the second half, and the good news for Stanford is she's out there, and that spectacular freshman has been as important as anybody to this 8th-ranked team throughout the start of the season.
Here we go, son.
Collins saw time in the first half, and gets to stay in there at the start of the second half. Zhao fighting for it as well.
There's the Utah defense again, and it started with Bailey Nielsen. They're picking up fairly high on the field, and they are pressuring the entire way down.
Idle back to Bauer.
Big spacing, and now switching the field. They go from Lytle all the way through the middle, through the back line, over to the left flank.
And can't get it tracked down in the corner. Nielsen gets it in. Look at that. First 20 minutes or so of the first half. Utah couldn't get into any attacking position.
It's so hard to move it forward. They try to go through the midfield, but you have to balance and work it from flank to flank. And give credit to the defense of Stanford early on. They were pressuring. They double team at every opportunity. They're a physical team. Saw the foul differential, and they're not afraid to body up.
Campbell, who was, shall we say, less than thrilled with the final 15 seconds of the first half when it looked like Utah might get another point-blank shot on goal.
She's not afraid to talk to the team and becoming much more of a vocal leader, and really, she has a vantage point. She can see a lot of things breaking down and what's happening from where she is back in the box.
Braun. Lee. Dump it off. Sullivan. Back to Zhao. Nielsen right there. Nifty little footwork.
Another advantage of a former forward being a defender on the back line. Very technical, good footwork by the senior. She has been busy. Been very good here today.
Sullivan trying to get through. Collins. Lytle getting it in. And they try to dump it off to Lee. Can't do it. Good D by Allie Allen.
Allen was right where she needed to be. Mariah Lee has such quickness, but she has yet to really get involved in the attack. She has been trying to, and her team's been trying to get her there.
I want you to say Allie Allen 10 times fast when we're at the airport tonight.
Yes.
If you can't get it done correctly and it twists you up,
Quite the tongue twister.
the tab's coming to you. Lytle goes middle.
A couple of give and goes by Lytle. She's more active already here in this second half.
Yes. We referenced how we liked Stanford's offense with her being a large part of it. Starting to see a little bit of that now. Zhao with some, I'd say, some control and some speed right there. Blowing by defenders.
Ankle seems to be much better.
No turn!
DiBiase unable to turn the corner.
And guess who? The defense again. Bailey Nielsen at 5'10", but quick at her feet.
Luke, All Pac-12 performer. Gets it to the block U in the middle. Well, that sets up nicely for Utah.
Tricky play, and it's all because Natalie Vukic said, "I'm not stopping." She kept running with it as the Cardinal thought they'd work it back through Jane Campbell, and it was coming in with some side spin, and Campbell decided she just needed to get it out of play. Well, it ends up rolling over the inline, and it's going to set up a corner.
Vanderveen, very good at this. His ability to keep the ball low and put something on it. Does just that. Nielsen there in the mix, and the Cardinal able to pop it back out. And Wild off the foot of Curl.
Nielsen's a great target in the box. A lot of congestion, couldn't get the angle.
Utah D has been very solid. Another case right there. You think there's an opportunity to get Sullivan in the mix. You also have Collins. Can Stanford get anything started? Where's DiBiase going to go with the ball? And then all of a sudden there's 4 red jerseys back.
Yeah, and Katie Rogers goes down. A little too physical. Are the Cardinal, and you got to give them some credit for trying to push, trying to get ahead before the defense can get settled, but just too much, and they get called on it. Now the Utes were trying to slip one through there. Taylor Slattery trying to get away from her defender. This is a pretty look up ahead, and the movement by Slattery without the ball. It just got out in front of her, a little too much on it. She couldn't settle it. But a confident play by the Utes, and why not? They're up in this one, and when we talked to Stanford's coach, Paul Radcliffe, he said, when you score, you build confidence, and they're seeing that from this Utah team now. It's going against them.
And it's a whole new part of the season, the start of conference play.
It definitely is. You try to prepare yourself in non-conference play, but every single match becomes like those ranked teams coming at you. 4 teams now in the top 25 this week, and 4 receiving votes.
Sullivan and Zhao tried to get something going. Couldn't. There's Utah on a little counter. Vukic. And a beautiful save. Campbell showing what she's made of. Slattery got some pop on it. Campbell denies.
Jane Campbell follows this completely because there's an angle the D didn't quite get there. Jane Campbell read it though, and beautiful. What a setup, as Slattery was right there and turns to her left.
Shots on goal, 4-1, Utah.
Thought that was going to go out off of Carusa, and instead it looks like it's going to be a corner now for the Cardinal.
Andy Sullivan, National Freshman of the Year last year, all-conference performer. Nielsen, boy, have we seen her make some plays for Utah today. It's been banged around too.
She has been everywhere and uses her length on that one in the air.
There she is again. Over the ball, turns. He's up off the head of Zhao. Lytle.
Multiple options and one too many. Zhao came flying in. A nice idea, though, by Laura Lytle. She looked up, saw a couple of teammates ahead.
You have the 5'11" Collins right there in front, and then Andy Sullivan right behind.
Yeah. Not enough red jerseys to go with. But a good look for Paul Radcliffe's team.
Tegan McGrady is going to come out. McGrady will come out to play for Zhao. Zhao will get a break.
You're a left winger. 4-2-3-1. Taylor, hold forward.
So you trade one talented freshman for another.
Those are good coaching problems to have.
They really are.
When you have to figure out who gets the minutes and how do we divvy this up, those are good luxuries to have. But you know what? Paul Radcliffe, he does have a world-class university to draw to. But you know what? He's an outstanding coach. He's built a very successful program. And when people, I guess I always just bristle when people say, well, who couldn't win at Stanford? You say, well, now wait a minute. There are a lot of other places these kids can go. And there are a lot of great schools out there. And Stanford is one of them. And Coach Radcliffe's done a great job of attracting players and being consistent in the NCAA tournament and advancing.
You have to find top athletes that are willing to be team players, that are willing to maybe not be a superstar.
Exactly.
And that's something that he told us. This team has really been a team effort. He said, I can't even isolate one player who's been a superstar. He said, but the key is we need a star in every single match. Somebody has to step up.
And they've had that in a number of matches when you look through about who's the one who got the tying goal or the winning goal. And it's been a different player on a regular occasion.
Number 1 recruit class in the nation last year, number 1 recruit class this year. You still have to figure out what to do with all of that talent. Rather have that problem than some of the others, though.
Of course, of course. And that'll be another whistle on Collins, the talented freshman. She's in there, boy. She's been physical this afternoon as well. Coach Radcliffe, 13 seasons, 5-time Coach of the Year. 3-time National Coach of the Year, 2011 National Championship. And the one that everybody wants to win the whole thing, but you got to get in before you're going to win. And that's a pretty good recruiting pitch that, listen, if you come here, we'll play in the NCAA tournament. Haven't missed one yet.
Yeah, they've been there.
And boy, are they good at home. And with their facility and the ability to host, they have been really successful in the tournament at home.
They absolutely have. Faced Cal State Fullerton, Arkansas, then Washington and Florida, and lost to Florida State in the semifinal of the College Cup last year.
Lytle gives it up, trying to get it back. Vanderven has been everywhere as well for Utah. Errant pass. And now Stanford, no. And Krista doing that's a handball, Krista. You can't touch it with your hand. Get it off your feet.
It was a deflection.
Well, I thought you were going to grab it and lay it up. I know you.
That's right.
I know you could shoot it through the hoop, so I thought you were maybe going to fake me and go two strong dribbles for a layup.
I was. I think you were offsides. That's what the call should be.
That has been the call today, hasn't it?
Yes.
The most popular one.
Pretty footwork by Taylor Slattery. Passing has been a little bit off by the Utes. They need to clean it up just a bit, but a little more pressure being applied now, a little higher up by the Cardinal.
Yeah, both sides, you talked at the top about how they like to play a ball possession and, get 6 or 7 passes and get it from side to side. And don't think the opponents didn't know that. And Vukic off the mark. Buckley trying to run it down and does. But the defense for each side is kind of interrupted and interfered with that free-flowing passing going side to side.
Yeah.
They put some players in the lanes. We watch a lot of this and cover it. I'm still always just fascinated with the reflexes of the goalies. Yes. I mean, especially these two are so good.
Well, 2 of the best in the conference. They are both spectacular.
And you see it on a regular basis when you cover them. I mean, the ability to cut off that angle, figure out where the ball is going to be, and then react to it in a split second. Lee. Lytle. Lytle turns. And we'll go wide. Lee. Header middle. And nice clear out by Buckley for Utah. Stanford had some gray and white stripes in there setting up.
Buckley had the height advantage. It was Tegan McGrady who had slipped in, but she got into position and she won the ball in the air.
Vukic.
Just pushed a little too far out. She was trying to come more centered, and they would not give her the spacing. The defense doing a nice job by the Cardinal, but Vukic, she's been kind of quiet, but coming off of a goal and an assist against LMU in their last match.
People always get excited when they see the net move, but it doesn't matter if you're on the wrong side of the net. But they do. You always hear the ooh and ah from the crowd, even if it's on the outside.
So close.
Yeah, no.
So close.
Doesn't work. Vanderveen. Rogers gets rid of it quickly. And nobody there.
Just a little too much on that. The lead, as Vukic was in the vicinity, and so was Taylor Slattery, but too much.
Lytle. Vukic staying right in her hip. Lee tries to get through, does. Collins turns, middle opportunity. And it pays off.
Just enough of a breakdown for the Cardinal.
Carusa turns and bangs it to the back of the net, and we're tied at 1.
The patience by the Cardinal. Carusa's been mostly an assist player this season, but gets her first goal. In playing in the shadows a little bit might be a factor, and 2 defenders trying to stop her, but she just moves out to her left, gets enough of an angle, they can't cut it off.
And again, it's that, just like Utah's goal, that second attempt.
Yes.
That pays off.
That's how it happens so often. It just gets the defense out of position just enough to give the opening. And now it's an entirely different match. And a lot of time left on both sides.
Oh yeah, and now you'll see, as we usually do, a little more pickup in the step of the Cardinal.
Right. Well, their spacing has been exceptional here in the second half. They have kept it out about as wide as they can go. They've been working the flanks, working it back through the middle.
Lee and Allen collide. Cardinal will get to operate from the corner. Sullivan. And the header, and Stanford gets another one. Did I tell you they come in bunches?
Their communication.
Carusa didn't have any coming in, now has 2 in a couple of minutes.
Impressive communication, because the header, I believe it was Maddie Bauer, we'll get another look at it. It's all about this angle and knowing where your teammate is. How about that? Keep it low, give me the angle. How about the heel flick?
Good look right there. Is that Amac who got the header, I believe? And now Stanford will continue to attack.
So Stephanie Amac actually had that perfect header Got amazing position. She's 5'10", and she made sure she stayed low, had the proper angle. She just looks out of the corner of her eye, sees her teammate right there. And how about the finish by the redshirt freshman, Kira Carusa?
And Carusa's somebody obviously very talented, but somebody that you don't pay a ton of attention to coming in.
Yeah.
And what was the theme from Coach Radcliffe? That we need a star every day. We just don't want it to be the same star.
Yeah.
And here you go again right now for Stanford anyway. 2-1, and somebody else taking center stage.
Continuing balanced scoring. And here's a sloppy pass by the Utes. And those are the things you can't do against a Stanford team. Got to clean those passes up. And a break right here for Utah.
And this is where it can get dangerous if you're Utah, because you've played well for a long stretch. And now you had a couple of little breakdowns, and Stanford has taken advantage. Now you're going to play the number 8 team in the country. You know it's not going to be easy. And they're going to take a run at you, but this is no time for Utah to hang your head, because you could look up and it could be 4-1 quickly.
You're right. It's all about how you respond.
No.
Allen, very physical. Paul Radcliffe not happy. No whistle in the box.
Cardinal 1-1.
Aggressive tackle there.
Lee. No. Rogers. Emack trying to clear it out and clean it up. And Stanford will back it up. Get a little reset here. Lee has it taken away. Elmer. Pac-12 soccer on the Pac-12 Network. Conference opener for both Stanford and Utah. 8th-ranked Cardinal now ahead 2-1. Rich Cellini, Krista Blanc on a beautiful but warm day in Salt Lake City.
It has been a warm one, a little bit of a breeze off and on. And the Utes were up 1-0 at half. Stanford able to tie it up here and then go ahead. They have settled down. Their spacing's been good.
Top 25 matchup Sunday, October the 4th at 11 Pacific on the Pac-12 Network. Stanford will be down in the desert against the Arizona Wildcats. Pac-12 women's soccer. Arizona, Washington, both in the top 25. They're in the first half. No score as of yet.
Both teams out to exceptional starts. Washington ranked the number 21 team in the nation.
No free weekends in conference play.
No, there aren't. I know that all the coaches make sure to keep that going through their players' minds. No time to take off. Both teams very happy to have had a week between their last matches, though. You don't get a lot of practice time sometimes when they start to add up.
Yeah, and they talked about how things sometimes can get a little bit loose and a little bit sloppy when you don't have enough practice time. And if all you ever have time to do is prepare for the next game and the next opponent, it's good to be able to step back and focus on yourself. Elmer in for Vukic.
Sean Cox in for the Cardinal. You did not see her in the first half.
No. Nielsen hounded by Walker Hartshorn. Now, we've been to quite a few places. I think that sitting on the sideline like you get to do here in Salt Lake City might be the best vantage point in conference. I like that.
Yeah.
Especially on a day like today.
You have to be ready, though.
Yes, you do.
It's like
you don't get to hang back. I wouldn't stare at your phone.
No, I would
I'd keep
not.
your head on a swivel.
No texting, no tweeting.
No. Otherwise, you might be
You're gonna
tweeting
get
your
a
black
souvenir.
eye.
Exactly. And a little bit of a limp now from Alana Cook, the freshman for the Cardinal. She's going to come out of this one. Megan Turner's coming in now.
And Casey Buckley will come out. And Polo Vanderveen will come in. Paul Radcliffe in Pac-12 openers, 9 up, no losses, 3 draws. Cardinal pretty good under
Pretty
him
good record.
In the first one of the year.
It's a good test, a good look for them as to how the team's going to respond coming off of a loss. And he said, I've been happy with the way they responded, at least in practice this week.
Top 10 nationally, Stanford at number 8. If you go to the top 25, Cal at 15, Washington 21, Arizona at 25.
Four teams receiving votes as well. Others doing very well, and that was Haley Skolmoski. She's been kind of quiet. They'll bring her up quite often out of the back line. That's one of the first attempts we've seen her in the attacking third. Coming off of a goal in the 81st minute against LMU. The first goal of her career. But she's been quiet. At least on the attack. Not necessarily on the back line.
No, on the back line. She's knocked a few people around. There'll be a few bumps and bruises after this one. See another instance right there. Lytle. To stretch the game when fatigue starts to set in a bit. Just 2 different sets right here. You look at Stanford obviously trying to get that 2-goal advantage in Utah. Thinking, boy, if we could just get it back to even, we could regain some of that momentum.
Oh, you're right. It's good defense right there. Nice sequence by the Utes. The help D coming over. Rosen couldn't hang on to it. So when they've had an opportunity to close in with a couple of defenders, they did it there and just can't hang on.
That'll be whistle and a takedown by Bailey Nielsen. Nielsen's had a nice career here as a senior.
Oh, she definitely has, and I've been impressed with her today in this one.
She's everywhere. Does a little bit of everything for this team. Strong defender.
She brings an energy. She's always being physical, always being active. And for Stanford in the shadows, just a bit of a breakdown, deflections, and settling it was Kira Carusa, and then another set piece. And they have haunted the Utes this year. The majority of their goals given up have been off of the set pieces. Stanford's just such an organized team. They're so good at their spacing. Kira Carusa getting involved quickly. Her first goals on the season and of her career. The redshirt freshman had a redshirt last season. She had 58 goals and 50 assists in her high school career, so it's an individual that knows what to do with it.
Not bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, that little flip was something. Isn't that impressive?
It was.
And those are the plays that just, to me, are the most fun to watch, is the players who really know where they are on the field, where the opportunity is, don't need to look, know exactly where I am.
They're just so technical, and it started with a beautiful header and assist from Stephanie Amack, knowing where she was. Starting to press a little bit more now. The Utes way up near the box.
Walker Hartshorn cut off, and good defense by Trabert. And a slow roll into Luke.
Megan Trabert, the captain, wasn't going to give Walker Hartshorn any good looks on that one, and in turn she gets a little too much of the pitch, slows it down, and Luke was right there.
Trabert, two-time All-Academic selection in the conference.
She's the captain for the Utes.
Elmer gets to center. Good denial there by Maddie Bauer. And then a rocket ball from deep ends up in the tree.
Nielsen way outside, and the clock is winding down, but there's still time. But you're not getting a lot of opportunities. There's Megan Trabert, the captain. One of the 6 seniors.
Yep, started every game in her Utah career. Rosen. And Luke able to track and deny.
That one was bending pretty far out by Haley Rosen, but not a bad idea, and Lindsay Luke followed it the entire way.
I work with a lot of different analysts, and there are some, and I want your take on this, they love any shot on goal. They don't care if it's far away. It's like, you know what? You never know what's going to happen. They love it.
Just take it.
There are some that just absolutely love. They don't care about percentages as long as it's got a shot to go in the box. Send it that way.
I think it depends. I really do.
I'm more with you.
I don't think you can do that every single time, but she did have enough of a look, and you got a little cushion right here. You got to take some chances.
Well, they try to get you with, you never know, the goalkeeper can fall down.
Well,
and my comeback is, I haven't seen one fall down yet. So we've had mud in Corvallis, we've had rain, we've had sleet. I haven't seen too many people slip and fall down. But okay. And then if you dig down a little bit, you realize, you know, they were the ones taking all the shots.
That's right.
So
you have to know if you're the player that has the green light or not out there too.
That's why you're all for it.
Yes.
Cardinal, Rosen, one deny and still in the box, and then Luke again able to finish it off. Another save.
That's big time credit to Lindsay Luke on that one, because she has to stay low. She's facing Rosen as she gets out and behind everybody, punches it down, still has another chance. And how about the help D? Katie Rogers was there, not making it easy for Rosen.
When that ball first came off and back out, I thought we were going to have our, another opportunity here with another touch on the second attempt, and that would have been the third time today.
Yeah.
Somebody got a goal off the second attempt of it. Utah coming back, and Campbell able to get up in the air and grab it.
That was Jacobson with the cross, had a couple of red jerseys up ahead, but too much on it. Jane Campbell waiting.
Get to an interesting part of the match right here. Stanford, you know that 1 goal advantage can evaporate immediately.
Sure.
And then if you're Utah, you start glancing at the clock. And I always find it interesting to see when players start to feel pressure on when time becomes a factor.
You are right.
You can almost sense it.
You can. Stanford being very patient. They are happy to let the clock work a little bit, but they know that it's not a big enough cushion. So they're still continuing to look for opportunities the last couple of times down. And for Utah, pushing a little bit more, pressuring a little bit more. Going to bring some fresh legs in.
Vukic coming in. Placed Nielsen, DiBiase, and Collins back in for Stanford. Rosen, Siobhan Cox will get a breather.
Right there, good.
And that one is out of bounds. We haven't talked a lot about Andy Sullivan in the second half.
She has been quiet. Rich Manning up, talking to his team, getting them in position, letting them know where he wants them to be. And Andy's been very, very quiet. She's one of the captains and capable of scoring. She's got a couple of goals on the season, but again, it's about balance. She gets marked, double-teamed and triple-teamed at times, and teams know where she is, so she's happy to distribute it, work it around to others.
I guess the impressive part of watching her last year and then again this year is that even with all that, the impact she can still make, but credit to her and her teammates that sometimes you have to go a different direction if they are doing everything in their power to take her away.
Well, Stanford's so good at setting up. They have a lot of set pieces. They set up the corners. She typically takes those as well, so that takes her out of that play.
And the cross again, this time off the foot of McGrady. She's been high. About 2 times as high as she needs to be.
Yes. The freshman, the lefty, part of the under-18 camp this past spring.
Now here's where a little ball control and some D can really squeeze some time out, because for Stanford the last 7.5 can't go fast, just can't get off there fast enough. And if Utah, you're thinking, can you slow this down a little bit?
Yes.
Can you slow that? Can a minute really be that quick? Come on now.
This is where that spacing makes it so much more difficult to defend, because it's a lot of ground to cover.
Spacing and chasing.
Yes.
And a lot of chasing from the red coming up. Lytle.
A little bit. Yeah, just a little bit. And there's good, yeah.
Looks like a player for the Utes injured, so the official
Allie
calling
Allen?
for the stopped clock.
Katie Rogers.
Just getting Katie back. She's such a big piece to the puzzle.
And number
she
3.
Went out with the head injury at BYU and missed 3 matches. She's the player that really controls the middle, and it's hard to tell if it's a specific body part or if it's something reoccurring from the previous Unfortunately, holding her head, and that is.
And it was the head injury against BYU that kept her out of action.
And they don't take any chances with that injury, really in any sport, especially though in this game.
Well, there wasn't anything that was particularly obvious.
Coming in, and she gets hit kind of from behind, jarred a little bit, and then cuts it back. And that's it. So it's a delayed response to maybe that contact.
And the Cardinal content to fire away.
Big boot on that one.
Taylor Slattery coming in. Kayla Elmer out for Utah. Stanford having a good time blasting away at the goal.
Oh, they are. Get an open look. They have some big legs on this team, very capable. That's why you have to always be ready if you're Utah, too. You just never know where they're going to decide to do it.
But if you're the Cardinal, you have to be careful here, because any slip up or any misstep.
Campbell waiting for Mariah Elmer and then picks it up. And Elmer continuing to pressure.
Vanderveen, Walker Hartshorn. Walker Hartshorn comes out.
Good trapping attempt by the Utes, but they just couldn't come away with it.
Rousseau trying to center.
Nice job by Traber to cut that one off for Utah.
And plenty of Stanford jerseys retreating. And Campbell taking no chances, sends it into the crowd.
And that's where that pass just a little too direct at that time. You still have time. You want to settle that down. You've got players going up. You've got Campbell way out of the box. So take your time, but instead pushed it a little too much.
Walker Hartshorn ends up a little bit wide off the hands of Lindsay Luke, laying out to deflect another. And now here's a little interception and a payoff. Collins able to intercept that pass and bang it in the back of the net.
The defense almost trying to drag her down. No whistles called. She stays with it. And Collins at 5'11", the freshman out of Bozeman, Montana, gets her first goal of her career.
Well, you can take chances when you have the lead and it's late, and she does, and you're right. This is anything they can do to try to drag her down, but she's got a little space, able to size it up, and no chance even for the great Lindsay Luke to try to knock that one down. And now the hurry-up has to come from Utah.
LD coming over, deflecting that attempt by Vukic. Pressing just a little too much there. Again, opportunities. You're down 2, but you still have some time and you have options. But this score definitely not telling of how this match has gone, and Utah's been right in it, but as soon as Stanford was able to get a score and then get the second, it was as if...
And they were two quick ones.
Yeah, they definitely were. It definitely built a confidence.
And they've been coming at him ever since. Luke collects off the header. And then I always find that last segment we just had one of the most interesting, of somebody with the 2-1 lead late. Somebody else trying to tie it, and just the team that can take those chances. So many times you can get that payoff. It's not the end of the world if they get it out in front. You're a little bit out of position. Boy, if you can grab it and finish. And what Coach Ratliff tell us? New star every day?
Yes.
Going to have 2 new ones today if this holds out.
Yeah, they definitely do.
Team.
A team effort. With the stars stepping up, and Kira Carusa did it early, and Avery Collins. 2 freshmen getting it done today for the Cardinal.
Coming in there, and look, there's Collins on that last goal. Just not a great pass.
Yeah.
And
Miscue.
saw the opportunity, and away we go. A yellow card taken out. And that goes against Laura Lytle, Stanford.
You don't see Laura Lytle get very many yellow cards. I don't know if I ever have in her 4 years. She's one of 30 up for the Senior Class Award, which is an award for your efforts on and off the pitch.
And Lytle will get to sit the rest of this one out. Mariah Lee comes in. Sullivan heads it out.
That was excellent defense by Sullivan. She was completely in front and in position.
Who's down again trying to grab the pass, but Collins thinking, I've got a formula here.
Yeah.
Let me get that pass and do a little 1v1. Paul Radcliffe and the Cardinal continuing to be tough in conference openers. If this holds, they'll go to 10-0-3 in conference openers as the head coach of Stanford.
They will hit the road to Arizona State and Arizona after this and then get 3 in a row at home. They'll have the Oregons and Colorado. The true test to start out on the road early on and see what your team can do.
Come on the road. It was a hot day, 90 degrees. Oh, your student athletes just started school this week. You know, a lot of things could be on their mind.
Absolutely. Off of a loss, they go down 1-0 at half. And everything was uphill for them here in the second, but
lost to Santa Clara and then down at the intermission here. It was a very spirited crowd. They quieted that piece. And got up 2-1 and controlled it, and then got the late one. And the first couple of firsts from Collins and Caruso with their goals today.
Paul Radcliffe told us that his team responded well in practice this week off of a loss at Santa Clara. He said, you know, the good thing that came out of it is that you learn more from a loss than you do from a win, and it maybe brings a little extra motivation, and it definitely showed here today.
Yeah, the Cardinal hadn't lost a conference opener since 2000 when they fell to Hope Solo and company, and Ryan Walker Horchorn and company. Continuing to bang it at the goal, and that one's going to count too. So get another one on there at the last couple seconds.
She was there. The clock's winding down. A defender bound. She's so good at turning. She's one of the best in the conference.
And now they're going to have to reset that one in with 1 second left. So this will be a cosmetic goal, but a goal nonetheless. There you go. Nice turn. And
you can see the defender sag off of her just a little bit. You cannot do that. She can turn on a dime, and she did just that. You could hear the clock counting down, and you can't let up on a player like her.
And the Cardinal win it 4-1 and improve to 7-2 on the season.
Much closer than the 4-1 score shows in my book, and a great start. I think for Utah, a lot of positives to take from this, but it just shows you have to play that entire 90. You can't just settle on the one half. You got to be ready for the second.
And you talk about playing that entire 90, and then, maybe that little, when it got to be 1-1, just a brief letdown, and then Stanford got it to 2-1 and never looked back. Great afternoon here in Salt Lake City. The Stanford Cardinal go on the road, and they knock off Utah. 4-1 is the final. From our partner, Chris LeBlanc, Rich Cellini saying so long from Salt Lake.